everyone, and thank you guys for joining us for our guest interview today with Jules. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, we're doing a series and interviewing artists from all over the country of all different genres and finding out why art has played such an important piece of their life. So before we jump in though, for those of you that aren't familiar with heArt Studios, we're a brand new nonprofit in Nashville, and our goal is to work with at-risk youth who have encountered incredibly difficult life experiences. And we want to use art, all of the arts, to help them process and heal from those experiences and create a brighter future for them and their families. So that's our mission. We'll be opening up here in Nashville. We're in the fundraising segment right now, and it's gone really well. We'll touch on that a little bit more at the end of our interview, but let's jump in.
Well, I am a lot of the things, and I guess I'll go ahead and start by saying I do modeling and photography a lot of the time. I also teach painting. I work in the CBD industry, so I work around cosmetics, working with creams, in anti-aging creams and things like that. Let's see. I like to sew. I like to cosplay. I mean, really the list can go on. If you can craft it, I want to do it.
You're incredibly creative. Your work, every time you post something, I'm just amazed by your creativity. It never ceases to astound me, just the range that you have with your art. I mean, what drew you in at the very start?
So I guess what drew me into art, and when I started, I was probably about 4 years old. My mom started giving me colors and crayons. I'm sure she does. That's most moms, but she noticed that I would always stay in the lines. She's like, that's really good for a 3 and 4 year old. And so she started putting me in art lessons, and art has always been therapeutic and played a therapy in my life. So I've probably been doing it for over 25 years now, closer to the 30 inside. Because I'm 33, so I've definitely been doing it for a long time. I started with doing watercolor paintings, worked in oil, and then did some acrylic, and then I moved on to some fine art, studied drawing and figure drawing in college, and then eventually studied the techniques of the old masters paintings. And then I also learned about them in a photography class as well. So I not only learned their techniques as a painter, but also as a photographer. So that was really fun.
So you're a painter and you're a photographer and you're a model. Gosh, what can't you do? Why are you so passionate about the arts?
So I think I'm really passionate about the arts because I struggled with communicating when I was younger. I didn't realize that the reasons that I struggled with communication probably was due to the fact that I was bipolar and was not able to mentally think logically. It's the best way I can explain that to a person who doesn't understand mental diseases. But each one is slightly different. With mine, my bipolar, I had really high moments and really low moments, but I wasn't able to stay in between and stay level-headed. So art was kind of that outlet for me. It was a way for me to process my thoughts onto paper without having to use words. So, and then eventually it just became a staple that morphed over the years.
It becomes addictive. I've noticed in my own life, it's like, I gotta have more of that art. And
it's very exciting. And I love the fact that when you're creating a new piece, whether it be crafting a wreath or crafting a vision for a photography set, you always find very good moments that give you a euphoric type of feel. And you can then say, okay, I had this image in my head and I had this feeling, emotion that I wanted to get out, and here it is, and now I can share that with other people. And so that's what's exciting for me.
Yeah. And I've heard bits and pieces of your life story, and art has been a huge part of your entire life story, including helping you heal from a lot of things that you faced.
So when I was probably about, I was 19, I found myself pregnant and unwed. And I thankfully had the support of my family. But one thing I didn't think I would ever have to face was about 20. So she was born when I was 20. And about a year after she was a year old, I was 21. I lost her to childhood cancer. Um,
So sorry.
I miss her constantly, but when I was going through that, obviously I didn't know how to art then, and I didn't know what means to take or what route to take. And I mean, I don't think anybody ever thinks that they will bury their child first. And I especially don't think you're thinking of it that young either. Like infants after the year old, you're thinking walking, maybe kindergarten or preschool, you're thinking along those lines. You don't actually think about something like that. But she had two 1 in a million diseases that caused her to lose her life. So the first one was liver cancer, and she had a liver tumor that took out 4 out of 6 lobes in her liver. So they couldn't operate. And
Wow.
by the time they found it, it had metastasized to her lungs. And so she had lesions the size of lemons on her lungs. And then they tried 1 round of chemo, which blew out her kidneys. And then after that, they tried dialysis to remove the toxins out of the blood because they weren't able to go through her kidneys. And so that didn't work. And so it had no place to escape except for blisters the size of softballs on her skin. So if we didn't take her off the machines, she probably would have died from an infection. And that was the second 1 in a million disease that she got in return to having chemo and then the cancer being the first. So after that, I was kind of, shook, I guess. I didn't really know what to do. I was thinking I was mom and planning this entire life for us. I actually had bought a house and I was planning to move into a house. We foreclosed on the house, and I just kind of moved back in with my parents and kind of like hermited for a while.
Yeah.
Tried to go back to school, wasn't really happy. Back then I weighed 278 pounds. So I was very, very unhappy and very, very unhealthy. I was probably borderline diabetic, as well as had borderline high cholesterol and some other things. I lost my gallbladder and had I actually had gallstones, and then my mom was like, I think you should really have this surgery. And so I had a gastric bypass, which basically means they go in and they staple your stomach down to where it's about this big around. And then they kind of readjust everything. And you basically have to reteach yourself how to eat. And so I basically taught myself how to eat. That eventually led to me losing over 100 pounds and becoming not only a new person, but finding a new reason to live. And before, when my daughter was alive, I didn't even like being in front of the camera. While I liked taking pictures behind the camera, I didn't like being in front of it. And when I lost my weight, I found a new love for art again, and I became the artist in front of the camera. So,
and I feel like when I see you actually in the room taking photos, you become alive in front of the camera. You become this vibrant, creative person that, to me, it just explodes with excitement, energy, creativity. And so I love watching you just literally in front of my own eyes come alive in front of a camera. And the way that you've used that one, like your life is a 180. I mean, you've used your passion for the arts and for photography to 180 your entire life, and you're so happy. Like, you are just beaming over here. And now I get to watch as you use art to help those around you too. And you're one that gives back. That's one of the coolest things about you. Tell us a little bit about how you love to serve your community.
So a few things that I like to serve my community with are back home, I used to teach painting. And then here I also used to, I mean, I still work with them, but I work with the Fashion Prize back home, which is a competition between designers, and it's a national competition. But it was a way that we could start giving back to these aspiring designers in our community. I also work with Fashion is for Everybody up here. I'm a volunteer.
Okay, you gotta tell them how cool this is. You guys gotta hear about Fashion is for Everyone. Please explain it, because it's incredible. Go ahead.
So Fashion is for Everybody is an all-inclusive fashion show based here in Nashville, and they're so amazing. They like to incorporate people of all abilities, colors, sizes, and top professionals in the industry on the same runway, which is amazing because the art and the glow on these people's faces when you see them all intertwined together is so much energy. It's so charismatic and it's contagious. Like, anybody who sees one of their runways, you want to be a part of them.
For me, it's so beautiful to see top fashion designers creating these incredible designs for
wearable
people in wheelchairs or the disabled, or incredibly beautiful souls and walk that runway. Incredibly beautiful souls, and they've all been through hard things in life. And
yes,
I always cry. I'm sorry. I always cry because fashion is a language that everyone speaks, and it should be. Yes. And it should be for everyone. And truly, this is for everyone. I love it. You guys got to check it out. I'm sorry. Plug.
Yeah,
you got to check it out.
They're definitely, I love the fact that these designers, they're making not just wearable art for anybody, it's adaptable. So sometimes they incorporate zippers or magnets into the clothing to better help those people get dressed. And it's pretty awesome, and it's going to be the wave of the industry. So jump on board while you can, because we're still new. But here I definitely want to be able to give back some of those skills to you guys and help you guys in any way I can learn. I mean, that I know how to incorporate those abilities for you. So I also know how to make wreaths. So if you guys like to craft, maybe I can help you with a project.
Where were you at Christmas? I'll hire you this year. That's for sure. So, one thing that we really want to, I love that you touched on that too. One thing we want to show the kids too is that, especially when you're giving back, it blesses you, and you could probably story about how you serving others has in the end been a huge blessing to you too. How has that turned right back around in your own life?
So it's such a great, I'm so glad you said that. And I'm so glad you asked that, because when I give back to people around me, when I'm able to help somebody, even though it's just volunteering my time, it's not always volunteering a monetary attribute. Sometimes it's just being present and volunteering your time and your skills to someone else. And when you do that and you see how much you helped your sister or your brother come up to the next level with you, it puts a sense of fulfillment in your heart, and it kind of starts to fill the void from all the trauma and the loss that you've experienced. And so in a way, you're able to take darkness and replace it with light. And that's kind of the most beautiful aspect to me.
Yeah. So. I literally couldn't have said it better. That was beautiful. So for the last wrap up bit, I want to know if you could talk to 12-year-old Jules and give her a piece of advice, knowing everything that you know now, what advice would you give her?
hang in there, Jules. I know middle school sucks. And it's so hard to live in your older brother's shadow, but one day you're going to be making waves and helping people that you never would have experienced or thought of. So that little girl that was so shy back then, just wait, because one day she's going to come out of her shell and help other people out of their shell.
You hear that, all you little 12-year-olds out there? You will. You'll make it. You will truly make it. So Jules, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're incredibly grateful for you. And this will just be the beginning of a really cool friendship between you and heArt Studios. This is not the last that we'll see of each other.
No, definitely. I'm so glad you guys had me on today.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate it.
You are one of those people that I really admire. You know, someone who has, you've had hard days, but you have come out, you have faced every bit of those trials with strength and dignity and passion. And you've used art in so many ways to not only bless yourself, help yourself, heal yourself, but to help so many others. And it's incredibly apparent that you are changing this community. I'm just proud of you. So I want to thank you for joining us. And for all of you guys out there, heArt Studios, what's coming up next for us? We're going to be still fundraising for our location in Nashville. So please, please, please feel free to give. You can visit our website at heartstudios.org. We'll, of course, put it in the comments below in the video. And then also, if you're an artist who would love to give back and teach youngsters right in the teenage years, your talents, your skills, or any piece of advice that you would have, we would love to hear it. Maybe even have you in, get to meet the kiddos, teach them a few fun creative talents. I think that would be really exciting. So please contact us if you're an artist out there who's interested in doing that too. But thank you for joining us, you guys. We'll have some more interviews coming up here shortly, and we hope you have a lovely day.